Greetings crew, and welcome back to the Shine Wellbeing Veg Patch. You want to start a garden, you want to start growing your own produce and grow more for less? You don't know where to start? Let's talk about raised beds. You're at the right place. Let's get our hands dirty. There's nothing more inspiring than growing your own and being able to enjoy the delicious bounty that you've grown from your own hands. But sometimes there's a few steps before you get to here. And one of them is choosing the infrastructure for your garden. There's so many different types of garden beds that you can work with. There's the raised corrugated iron metal beds, there's timber beds, there's brick beds, there's a whole range. So you're limited only by your imagination. For us here, we've gone with a timber sleeper because I really love that aesthetic. And I know it's something that's worked well for me in the past, and it's something that is reasonably affordable. Once you've worked out what kind of materials you're going to use for your raised garden bed structures, the next question is, where are you going to place it? Orientation is a really important part of a successful vegetable garden. Here in the Southern Hemisphere in Eastern Australia, we like to go and face north. But for those of you in the Northern Hemisphere, it's the exact opposite. So you're going to face your garden south if you want to maximize your productivity of your garden. And facing north here in Australia is maximizing the exposure of the sun. It rises over here in the east, comes up overhead, and then drops off into the west. And for us here, the whole garden has a huge exposure to that northern light, which means that we really reduce the amount of shadowing. As you can see, it's rather bright out here. Should have mentioned just how beautiful this purple sprouting broccoli is. Look at the beautiful. I mean, I wish you guys could touch it. It's so beautiful. But you know, if you can't get that northern light or that southern light, if you're a northern hemisphere person, then, you know, do the best that you can. But know that your vegetables are sun worshippers, and they love to be exposed to most vegetables to full sun all day if possible. The Shine Wellbeing Veg Patch has metre-wide garden paths, and these allow me to get wheelbarrows in so effortlessly. The minimum for paths in terms of size is usually around 2 feet. But you know, it's totally up to you. Personally, more space the better. The thing to factor is what material you're going to pop down for your garden paths. You know, you might have grass, but grass can be hard to maintain sometimes. So this is what we've got covering our garden paths, and it is a recycled concrete product that we get as waste from construction sites. So this is an incredibly environmentally friendly use of this recycled product. But you might use river stones, you might use whatever you can get your hands on, including mulch is a great option as well. So it really depends on what is most effective for you and for your environment. For me, this works a treat. And you'll see here where we go from using the recycled concrete material into the dirt, and it really does get muddy and sticky underfoot. So I'm not a fan of having dirt or loose ground, because once you start watering and your beds start draining away, you're going to end up with muddy boots, and that's just annoying when you try and, you know, walk around with mud on your boots. You can see here that we've used a weed mat on the underside of our pathways, and this will be joined on for when this stage 2 pathway is done. which we're hoping to have done very, very soon, and then we'll give you a full tour. Soil, pants are falling off. Soil matters, crew, and this is what I want to talk to you about next. If you've got a budget for your soil, awesome, but we didn't have one, and we've built most of this vegetable patch from recycled materials. The only things that we've bought is the decking for the gathering space and also the sleepers. That's the only things, along with the irrigation. But everything else has been brought in that would have ended up being landfill, including this soil. We approached a number of local builders and they were able to give us this soil, topsoil from construction sites for free. And this soil, some of it was great and some of it was not so great. And what we did is we blended the soil. We blended all of them together, and then we've added some magic compost to it and some horse manure. We set up an arrangement with our local horse breeder, a beautiful woman who breeds the most gorgeous Arabian horses, and she was looking to get rid of her horse manure, and we were looking to take some on. So we trade vegetables, sharing our produce with her, and she shares her horse manure. And I can say we add about 50% horse manure to our soil mix, and that's how we grow the Shine Wellbeing Veg so beautifully. While we're at it, I've got a couple of little projects here drying. These are the chilies that I'm going to set seed from. These guys will become the stars of another video coming up soon, because you know we're all about zero waste. These are green potatoes, which you can't eat, but you can do something with them, and I'm going to show you what in a video or two ahead. And then I've got some peas drying as well. They're now ready to harvest as seed. So we don't just grow our own produce, we also collect our own seed. Can't wait to share that one with you. They'll go into the seedy briefcases, which you might have seen in the video from last week, which was how to grow more for less, saving $1 in the garden, how to make your own seed raising mix, how to store your seeds, how to sow your seeds, and how to get them to grow. But for us, it's not just about the dollar. It's about finding seed that is genetically successful in our environment. But what this seed has that other seeds don't have, that you're buying from the store, is a genetic history to being here in this environment. This particular pile of peas grew abundantly, was very resistant to pests and disease. So for us, we know that this is a stellar crop, and so we're going to save this gene pool and use it for next year. If you're interested in seed saving, by the way, we do have a video on that showing you how I do it. Right, let's keep moving. Here at Shine Wellbeing, we use mulch religiously. Every bed is well mulched with at least 2 inches of good quality sugarcane mulch, but it doesn't stop there. Why mulch when you can fertilize? And so I integrate the two together. We bring in the sugarcane mulch, so this is this rough material that you can see here, but then we add in a lot of beautiful stuff made by our compost crew, also known as guinea pigs. Now we keep the guinea pigs as part of our composting system, and it is magic stuff. It really does take your garden to the next level. So highly recommend getting yourself a compost crew, but if that doesn't fit for you, just consider throwing a bit of fertilizer in with your mulch, so that when you're mulching your plants, you're getting a slow release fertilizer at the same time. When the rain comes, it hits the mulch, washes the manures into the ground, and your plants will love you for it. Bigger isn't always better. These veg temples, the square ones, you can see are all the same size, and that's because it's an integrated design. So we can take elements from one garden bed and take it straight into the next garden. It reduces the amount of waste and the extra things that you need to cart about in order to keep your garden productive. Be sure to make your beds user-friendly. These beds are 1800 by 1800 wide, and so I can reach my short arms into the center of these beds with ease, but I can do that from every angle, so it makes weeding and harvesting effortless. Oh, and the rule of thumb is about 3 feet or 90 centimeters or 900 mil. That's generally the best option in terms of the depth of your beds. For us, we went double that because we've got access points on both sides. All of the beds, no matter what size they are, and this is the newest of our garden beds. This is the Taj Veg Temple, and it is a lot longer, roughly 3 of our regular veg temples or thereabouts. This though still follows that same 900 millimeter principle. I can still reach my hand through into the center anywhere on the bed. So no matter what size garden you choose to work with and what size garden beds you make, if you stick to that 800 or 900 millimeter rule, or 3 feet or thereabouts, you're gonna go smashingly well and not have weedy patches in the center of your garden beds. No matter what kind of garden you decide to go with, anybody can grow their own produce. If you apply these basic principles and stay with it, know that you're going to make mistakes, and it's okay. Every time a gardener makes a mistake, we become wiser and we share that wisdom. I hope that you found this video useful. I really wanted it just to be a support tool or a guide to stop you from making the same mistakes that I've made in the past. You know, my first garden was so beautiful. It had curves and beautiful lines, but it was so impractical. The beds were too deep. I couldn't keep up with the weeds. There was different sizes for all of the garden beds, which made using equipment really, really difficult. It just didn't work for me. And if you've got a garden bed like that and it was working for you, that's awesome, and I'm so glad that you're happy. But for me, it just didn't work. Working with those basic principles of knowing that you need wide paths, knowing that it's easier to move your wheelbarrows through on a straighter path than it is on a windy, tight, curved path like what I used to have, and knowing that, you know, I can reach the weeds, I can get my arms in and get to the harvest, I can mulch, I can service the veg temples easily and effectively. It makes me want to get out here more often, and I don't have the weedy mess that I used to have. So I hope you found all of this information useful. If you have, feel free to check out this video, and it'll show you a little more about our revolutionary veg temples, and we've got another video coming soon which is going to show you exactly how we make them. So I hope you found that useful. Have a beautiful day. Shine on. Oh, and I did forget to mention that I really appreciate you. I appreciate you being here, appreciate you clicking on this video, and I appreciate you being a part of our crew. Without you, I'd just be talking to this camera. So thanks so much for taking the time to click on this video and to watch.